What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel here. I've been slacking lately, just been busy getting out of the army and all that business. I promised you in one of my other videos that I'd do some reviews on stuff, and here we are. I did promise some install videos too, and I recently installed this cold side pipe from Sinister Diesel and the hot side pipe right up there. If in doubt, look for the Sinister blue and the logo. Huge shout out to Corey at Modern Diesel and the guys over at dieselpowerproducts.com. That's where I ordered the two boost tubes there, as well as this Banks ram air setup. Corey at Modern Diesel was great to work with. I ordered a 600 rear wheel horsepower tune that is actually emissions compliant, which is interesting. Sorry, messing with my dipsticks there. So just to prove to you guys that we're emissions intact, there's the EGR. My thoughts on that don't really matter. And let's see, you can see my emissions setup is still there. So I guess we'll start with order of appearance. So the Banks ram air kit for the 2018 6.7 Power Stroke, pretty easy install. The worst part of it actually was taking out the factory garbage. A lot of little Christmas tree clips and that to pry out. This kit went in pretty easy. The second pain in the butt was pulling the battery out. You're not really going to be able to see it, but part of the air box goes down under the battery and then up here to the intake horn or scoop, whatever you want to call it. Every manufacturer, Banks included, makes their claims to add horsepower with their product, so on and so forth. I definitely have not dynoed the truck, but like I said, I've got a 606 rear wheel horsepower tune and a 5-position switch, so you go from war mode down to optimized stock, so on and so forth. I have not dynoed this truck, but overall, the first mod I did was this Banks ram air set here. Pretty easy install. I did it in a parking lot with just basic hand tools. Probably would have gone quicker if I had an impact, but you know, army pay. I did notice improved throttle response immediately after the install, and not really any noticeable mile per gallon change, but the computer on these things is only as accurate as it is. And the guy that owned this before me, props to you, dude, for taking care of the truck, but the oversized tires don't help. I'm running metric something or other. It's equivalent of a 34.5-inch tire. Kind of moving on here. The boost tubes here were actually kind of a pain. It's supposed to be an hour install for the cold side kit, and probably about the same for the hot side there. It did not, in fact, take me an hour. It took me like 6, because that little clamp down there at the cold side outlet of the intercooler was an absolute pain, along with lining everything up. And you can see a little bit of force was required there. I'm not a diesel mechanic. I just not afraid to mess things up, I guess. So all in all, the hot side was super easy to install. Best advice I can provide you is don't do it how I did. I installed it below freezing, so the silicone boots were an absolute super bitch to get lined up and all that, and get the pipes oriented correctly. Overall, though, it's a great kit. The truck seems to breathe a little easier between the Banks ram air and these little rascals. It seems to be doing okay. Kind of move on here to the 5-position switch. You get into your fuel thing, whatever. You can do wire taps with the provided plug that the boys over at MDM Diesel send you. I just hardwired it because that's what Corey recommended in one of his videos. I haven't had to have any warranty issues. Touch wood, I won't have any, so I don't know if any of this voids the warranty. I'm not an expert on such things, but you assume risk on these things. Overall, the install was pretty easy. Got a BD Diesel high idle switch over there from dieselpowerproducts.com. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I just tell you what I got because knowledge is useless unless you share it. So the switch plumbs onto your OBD2 port right here, and then you just pass the wiring through the firewall there, and yeah, it is what it is, right? I've got her up in I guess zone 4 or zone 5 anyway. Shit tons of power. So overall, great product. Pretty happy with it. It installed with Easy Link and Auto Agent, and super simple to do. The most time consuming part was actually running the wires through the firewall there. I highly recommend you get a fish stick or a fish tape or something if you're gonna do it. Just spend the money, get the right tool. I used a coat hanger and a super long screwdriver at one point and just taped the shit out of the wires and yanked it through. 11 out of 10, don't recommend it, but here we are, right? I'm gonna do kind of a miles per gallon thing today. I'm gonna do it on zone 4 and zone 5 on the switch down there, just to see where the overall power is, and see if I get any better miles per gallon on the highway. 25 here in Colorado is perpetually under construction, so we may or may not get a valid test out of it, but yeah, I'll keep you guys in the loop. I do apologize for not doing the install video, but I don't have a tripod for the phone or anything, and I needed about 4 hands as it was to try and do it. I spent the majority of the day crouching up there on the fan shroud area. I don't know what to properly call it, cross member, transverse, whatever the shit. You get the idea. But overall, great products. Trying to think what else I have on here. I have a SPE disaster prevention kit I've not installed yet, mostly because the idea of taking off that plastic upper intake plenum thing, whatever the hell, Corey, I'm going to borrow your term for it if you're watching. At some point I plan to do a crankcase ventilator delete from SPE and kind of reroute it so that you're not sending nasty shit back through your turbocharger. Unfortunately, the kit dumps overboard, but there's enough nasty shit in the environment anyways. So we got that. I've got the billet drain plug on the inline fuel filter just forward of the fuel tank. Easy install. Unfortunately, I was a little too strong for my own good and broke the little housing that the factory yellow piece of crap, you know what I'm talking about, rides in. So at some point I'm gonna have to replace the actual thing the filter goes onto, but it's my own fault. I'd rather be open and honest with you guys, like how Colt over at Colt's Way does. He's very no shit honest. I'd rather you learn from my mistakes. So here we are. Stay tuned.